end the season with the most ambitious project of my time in Jacksonville so far, and a concert containing some of the greatest music ever composed. This is a program about the voice and the orchestra in equal measure. We have two pieces by Jonathan Harvey and Claude Debussy that demonstrate the colors in the orchestra, followed by extended excerpts from Wagner's music drama, Götterdämmerung. Jonathan Harvey was an English composer who died in 2012. In the 1980s, he was at the forefront of the avant-garde, writing a series of electronic pieces for IRCAM, the Institute of Research and Coordination for Acoustics and Music, which is housed underneath the Pompidou Center in Paris. By the turn of this century, he'd moved away from electronic instruments to the orchestra. Tranquil Abiding, written in 1998, is named after a Buddhist term for a state of single-pointed concentration. Jonathan Harvey wrote, "It's a 14-minute movement throughout on a single, slow-breathing rhythm. The rhythm consists of an inhalation on an upper note, followed by an exhalation on a lower one. The piece begins slowly but feels restless. As it continues, the music develops an understated beauty, reflecting the calm mindset you might achieve after meditating. In the final minutes, the whole orchestra seems to breathe in and out together." Like his countryman Ravel, Debussy was fascinated by Spain, even though he'd only spent a few hours there when he wrote his musical depiction of it between 1905 and 1912. Perhaps the idea of Spain as a place far away from the social mores and restrictions of Paris inspired Debussy as much as his short visit there. But he must have caught something authentic about the country, since the great Spanish composer Manuel de Falla said of Debussy's Iberia, "The echoes from the villages, a kind of Sevillana, the generic theme of the work, which seems to float in an atmosphere of scintillating light, the intoxicating spell of Andalusian nights, the festive gaiety of people dancing to the joyous strains of a banda of guitars and banderillos. All this whirls in the air, approaches and recedes, and our imagination is constantly kept awake and dazzled by the power of an intensely expressive and richly varied music." Iberia is in 3 scenes, each with a title. In the first, "In the Streets and Byways," we hear a street band in the pizzicato strings, castanets, and tambourine. The second, "Perfumes of the Night," turns to one of Debussy's favorite atmospheres in a purely poetic picture of urban nightlife. We hear an oboe play a seductive melody over a sultry background of muted strings, xylophone, celesta, and tambourine. As the movement closes, we hear bells in the distance, moving into the third movement, Morning of a Festival Day. The orchestra awakes with the strings strumming chords, and we've arrived in a town square full of activity and Iberian energy. Götterdämmerung is the 4th opera, or music drama, as Wagner preferred to call his works, in the cycle of music dramas, the Ring of the Nibelung. Götterdämmerung means the twilight of the gods. One of the main themes in the Ring cycle is the corrupting influence of power. And in this last drama, we see the entire universe go down in flames because of the gods' lust for control. Our excerpts begin at dawn as Siegfried and Brunhilde emerge from a cave after what has essentially been their wedding night. This is perhaps my favorite scene in the whole of the Ring cycle. With Wagner's most ecstatic music, they exult in their love for each other, and Siegfried, in the manner of all epic heroes, goes off in search of adventure. He wears the ring that Brunhilde has given him, a magic and curse-laden amulet stolen by her father Wotan, which can bring untold power and wreak untold havoc by those who use its spells with malice. Siegfried sets off down the mountain, and we hear him traversing the Rhineland landscape in the course of the next excerpt, the Rhine Journey. Siegfried is always identified by the sound of his horn, and the music is replete with vigorous calls. We move from there to the prelude to the second act, a depiction of the brooding Hagen, very much the villain of the piece, a portrait of evil, manipulativeness, and self-loathing that probably has no equal anywhere in music. Hagen has contrived, through spells and deceit, to have his half-brother Gunther abduct Brunhilde with the intention of marrying her, and also to force Siegfried, forgetting everything about Brunhilde, to fall in love with Gertrud, his half-sister. The call to the vassals is the point at which he summons all Gunther's retainers to assemble and welcome their kinsman and leader Gunther as he brings Brunhilde home. The third act excerpts revolve around Hagen's murder of Siegfried and Brunhilde's ultimate realization of everything that has happened, her ecstatic self-sacrifice, and the return of the cursed ring, the symbolic source of all destruction, to the bottom of the river Rhine. Siegfried meets up with Hagen, Gunther, and the vassals while on a hunt in the woods. Hagen asks him to recount his adventures to the assembled men, since Siegfried, although still a young man, already has the status of a living legend. At one point, Hagen offers him a drink to quench his thirst in the summer's heat, but he adds a potion that causes him to remember everything that previously Hagen had caused him to forget. Siegfried, his memory now restored, begins ecstatically to recount his wooing of Brunhilde. Hagen feigns horror at what he designates as a betrayal and thrusts a spear into Siegfried's back. Siegfried's dying words are a moving recollection of his first moments with his bride. There follows the mighty funeral march in which Siegfried's body is borne away, and then the tremendous last scene of the opera, the immolation scene. Brunhilde has now learnt the truth about everything, and in these final moments she ruminates on all the evil that has led to this point, and essentially forgives everyone for their human or godly failings. She leaps onto her horse and mounts the burning funeral pyre of Siegfried's body. Flames in the sky seize on Valhalla, the home of the gods, where they are all assembled, consuming it. The Rhine overflows its banks and takes back the ring from whence it originally came. For these performances, we welcome a truly awe-inspiring duo of singers, Christine Brewer to sing Brunhilde and Jay Hunter Morris to sing Siegfried. Both regulars at the world's finest opera houses, including the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. Hearing them sing in Jacksonville will be one of the highlights of this season, if not the last few years. So get your tickets now before they sell out, and join us for a journey like no other as we present Wagner's greatest operatic achievement.